what is my purpose? What is unique about me? If you're not playing, you're not having fun, you wasted your life. Do you want to say at the end of your life, I had everything except joy?
What brings you the most joy alive?
Existence.
Deepak, we met about, I think almost 2 years ago, and I'm so thrilled to be sitting here with you today. And if we reflect back to our conversations, our first conversations about the Healing Company, did you ever imagine this day?
I don't usually imagine anything other than the big vision, which is 1 billion people for more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. And then every day it evolves, and this is part of the evolution.
You started your career in traditional medicine, becoming a board-certified doctor in neuroendocrinology. What prompted you to shift your focus more into integrated medicine?
Well, there were many reasons. When I was training in neuroendocrinology, my mentor, who was a very famous neuroendocrinologist, Seymour Reichland, by the way, he's 97 now, and he lives in Arizona now. At that time, he was president of the Endocrine Society in Boston. If he catches a snake in his garden now, he still dissects the brain looking for neuropeptides. And he comes once a year to New York to teach. And I have breakfast with him every year at Balthazar. He's as young as a young person could be, and sharp and amazing physician scientist. So we were studying at that time what are now very common molecules like serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, neuropeptides that they're called. They're brain chemicals. It turned out that these chemicals are also the chemicals of emotion. So whenever you feel joy or happiness or love or compassion or empathy or peace, they get activated in opposition to what happens when you're stressed. You get cortisol, and you get adrenaline, you get inflammation. So we have two parts to our nervous system. One is the fight-flight reactive response, sympathetic overdrive, and then the other is the reset healing system, which people haven't actually paid too much attention to until recently. After COVID, people started recognizing that we have to pay more attention to the parasympathetic nervous system. In any case, we were convinced in those days, and this is a long time ago, this is like, I'm talking about the 1980s, before you were born, we were calling these the molecules of emotion. This was the first insight that our emotions regulate our biology. And that led me to write a book called Quantum Healing, another book called Creating Health, the Mind-Body Connection. 40 years later, everything we were discovering there has found scientific validation in the science of neuroplasticity, epigenetics, gene regulation, and so on. So we have a healing system in our body. That led me to what is called alternative medicine. Since then, many words: holistic medicine, integrative medicine. Yeah. Honestly, I don't like any of them. I think medicine is medicine. If it's good, it's good medicine if it works. So I don't make this distinction anymore. I say if something is good, it's medicine and it's good medicine, period.
Yeah, no, I like that. Because it's right now, it's classified very much into I think the most common words that I am aware of is always Western and Eastern medicine. It's very classified.
Well, that is in a way also needs to be integrated as a holistic system. And holistic is not bad because it means health, healing, holy. Holistic means the same thing. Whole means include everything: body, mind, spirit, integrated activity in our own consciousness, body, mind, spirit, and the world.
So Chopra Global's mission is to empower personal transformation for collective healing. What does that mean to you personally?
I've seen a lot of activism. I've seen angry peace activists. They get Nobel Prizes.
Paradox.
They get Nobel Prizes, but they're not at peace with themselves. And people say, you have to show love in the world, but they've never been the recipient or giver of love. So peace can only be created by those who are peaceful. Love can only be shared by those who know how to receive and give love, etc., etc. You have to be the change you want to see in the world. I believe there's no social transformation in the absence of personal transformation. So that became my mission: social transformation through personal transformation, to reach a critical mass of people, 1 billion, for a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthy, and joyful world.
So everyone contributing to the collective health.
We are part of collective consciousness, and in turn, we contribute to collective consciousness. They're two, they're entangled.
So you continue to be the inspiration and knowledge for many people out there. What advice would you give other people who want to inspire and create positive change?
I think first you need to get in touch with your deeper self and create what I call your own soul profile. Ask yourself, what is my purpose? What kind of contribution do I want to make to the world or to society or to the family or to my community? What are my unique talents? What does a good friendship mean to me? What do I contribute? What do I receive? What are the most joyful peak experiences of my life? Do I have any heroes or heroines in history, mythology, religion that I could use as my mentors? And now you have a story, your personal story. It's not your bio, which is where you went to school, what credential. You can find that on LinkedIn. But this is a more deeper, what I call soul profile. What centers around that soul profile is, what is my purpose and what is unique about me? When I'm expressing myself in my unique way, who benefits? And you're expressing yourself in a unique way. When you lose track of time, it's not work anymore, it's play. You start with that, and then you create what I say is your own ecosystem. In Sanskrit, we use 3 words: seva, service; sangha, community; and sadhana, spiritual practice. When you combine those 3, service, community, and spiritual practice, then you create an ecosystem where you find your unique way to serve the world. That's what I would suggest.
And what would you say to people, because I know a lot of people always struggle to find answers to these questions that you just said at the beginning. Like, what is my purpose? What do I want to do? What recommendation would you give to those people that are like looking for these answers and can't really find them?
They should be able to find them. And, I just met a woman during the COVID pandemic when she had lost a job in a high-tech company, big job she had. She was very depressed. I said, did you really enjoy your job? She said, I hated it. So I said, what do you enjoy doing? She said, I enjoy being a chef, cooking. I said, why don't you create a home delivery service with your unique brand of cooking, which in that time was Indian. But then she got together with other people and she's got the biggest home delivery system with home cooking, Chinese food, Italian food, Greek food, Indian food, much bigger business than she had before. So it doesn't matter what you find out what you enjoy. You enjoy traveling, maybe you should work in a travel agency or create one yourself.
Listen more to your gut feeling.
Yeah, what do you enjoy doing? What is playful for you? That is, if you're not playing, you're not having fun, you wasted your life. Do you want to say at the end of your life, I had everything except joy?
I like that. I think that ties to one question that we have as well, is like, because you always say joy is the ultimate measure of success.
And well-being.
What brings you the most joy in life?
Existence.
I knew an answer like that would come.
I'm so shocked. I walked down New York Street, everybody's walking with some kind of mind that's distracted, and they don't seem to be surprised by their existence. I think if you're not perpetually surprised that you exist, you've lost all the joy in the world. With children, we play peekaboo. Why? Because they love surprises. That's very joyful.
Yeah, I truly agree. I think that's something that is missing a lot in the world. People are so tied to their phones, tied to the...
Existence is the biggest mystery, and even bigger than the mystery of existence is the awareness of existence.
Consciousness.
Yeah. If you weren't aware of your existence, then for practical matters, you missed out.
So over 20 years ago, you published a book called Perfect Health, which was the original guide to the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda and how it's applied to the modern life. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, Ayurveda comes from 2 Sanskrit words, Ayus, which means life, and Veda, which means knowledge of life. So Ayurveda is not just a system of medicine, it's actually knowledge and wisdom about life. It begins with the phrase, Ayurveda Amritanam, which means Ayurveda is for immortality. It goes all the way to say that there's a part of you which is timeless being, which is not subject to birth, death. It's immortal, it's timeless. Ultimate goal of Ayurveda, therefore, is enlightenment, to find out who you are beyond the experience of body, mind, and world. Because the body, mind, world experience is very time-bound. But the experience of fundamental reality, what people call soul or being, spirit, is timeless. That's the ultimate goal of Ayurveda. And then there's another phrase in Ayurveda, Yatha Pinde, Tatha Brahmande. As is the atom, so is the universe. As is the human mind, so is the cosmic mind. As is the human body, so is the cosmic body. By understanding your body, you understand the cosmos. Because we are the only species on this planet that is aware that we are aware. We are the only species on this planet that has this self-awareness, which is a very amazing experience, because, again, Ayurveda holds that the self of the individual is the self of the universe. Now, we're not talking about ego, body, mind. That's the object of experience. But the subject of experience is pure consciousness, which is non-local, beyond space and time. So Ayurveda goes about this process very slowly by understanding the body as energy and matter, understanding the mind as intellect, ego, emotion, and understanding a more primal identity, which is called the causal body or the bliss body. So we have this body. This is a modification of the bliss body through social indoctrination, what we call hypnosis of social conditioning. So then, having understood this, Ayurveda understands that there are people with different psychophysiological tendencies, different predispositions. Some people are hyper-metabolic, we say in the Sanskrit word vata. Some people are fiery, more inflammatory, pitta. Some people are more retentive, kapha. Then there are various combinations, ultimately 9 body types. Each of these body types responds differently to everything, to every situation, to every circumstance, to the weather, to food, to relationships, etc. By understanding a person's body type, you can tailor treatment or nourishment very specifically. That becomes the healing component of Ayurveda. So healing involves everything from healing the emotions, to healing the body, to healing the mistakes of the intellect, putting your ego in backstage instead of on the forefront, identifying with your spirit, but ultimately bringing about self-regulation in body, mind, and spirit. As part of Ayurveda, there is a huge pharmacopoeia of natural herbs, and now we recognize through science that these are adaptogens. They modulate the effect of stress at a cellular level. And now we have research through the Chopra Foundation, and other people have done research to show how these adaptogens work, how they increase longevity, how they improve digestion, how they reduce inflammation. Taking the herbs, of course, has a lot of benefit, and there are many formulations now which are combinations of these herbs, but it still has to be combined with lifestyle, with emotional regulation, with social and emotional intelligence, with breathing techniques, with yoga, with, of course, diet and nutritional supplements or complements as we call them. And ultimately the goal is to integrate mind, body, spirit, and the environment as one unified process in our own awareness. So it's a very complete science. I would say modern science is based only on objective measurement, which is very good. So science asks what's out there. Ayurveda and these wisdom traditions ask, who's asking? I'd like to think today that we have many ways to look at reality. There's data, which is very fundamental. Measurement. Data gives you information, which is the resolution of uncertainty. Information gives you knowledge, which you can use for divine or destructive purposes. But the ultimate goal is wisdom. And wisdom is that knowledge which sustains life on this planet, our life and all life on this planet. That's what Ayurveda does. It's a wisdom-based healing tradition.
And one thing that is quite interesting also to what you just said, because I think nowadays personalized medicine and health is seen as something really new or innovative. But actually, individualized health is like the foundation of Ayurveda.
Yeah.
How do you see the future in personalized health? And
I think the future of well-being is personalized, it's predictive, it's preventive, it's participatory, and it's a process. the 5 Ps of well-being. Now that we have artificial intelligence and deep learning systems, we can actually use AI to not only predict disease, but to prevent disease and even to reverse disease. So this is where modern technology, AI, deep learning systems, and this ancient wisdom will come together.
So how do you see the future of Chopra Global in partnership with the Healing Company?
I see my role in Chopra Global has always been to create content, also back up the content with good research. I see the Healing Company as a means to use that content and the research base to provide both products and services at a global level for the alleviation of human suffering.
Your newest book was published actually earlier this year called Living in the Light. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's about, especially in terms of royal yoga?
Okay, so the original teaching of yoga comes from a great sage by the name of Patanjali. And all yoga is a derivative of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. He devotes only 5% of his entire knowledge to the yoga asanas, the physical aspect of yoga, 5%. The rest is 8 limbs of yoga, but he does it very intelligently and sequentially. When you read Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, the first sentence in the first chapter is, now the teaching of yoga begins, but then second sentence summarizes all of yoga. He says, yoga is the settling down of the fluctuations of consciousness, which you call sensations, sense perceptions, images, feelings, and thoughts, into the source of all reality, which is pure consciousness. Second sentence in the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. So he has 8 limbs, and this is called Raj Yoga in the original. Raj means royal, so royal yoga. As you know, there are other kinds of yoga. Yoga of love, yoga of action, karma yoga, yoga of the intellect, called Gyan Yoga. But royal yoga is Patanjali's gift to the world, and he gives 8 limbs of this royal yoga. The first is called Yama, which is principles of social intelligence. If you don't know how to, we are social beings. If you don't know how to interact with society, you're basically going to suffer what people are suffering right now: alienation, separate mind, anxiety, loneliness, depression, etc. But he outlines the principles of social intelligence based on consciousness as your fundamental identity. So it's not what you'll read in popular books about social intelligence. It's very deep. The second limb of yoga that he describes is called niyama, which is emotional intelligence, your own. Again, 5 principles based on deep understanding of fundamental reality. The third limb, he immediately jumps to yogasana, what you learn in the yoga studio. It talks about 5 principles of emotional intelligence, but based on a deeper fundamental reality, which is consciousness. He starts with that, then immediately jumps to asana. The word asana, which is the postures of yoga, they are what we learn in a regular yoga studio, but the asana, actually word asana means seat of consciousness or seat of awareness. Every asana actually evokes a certain mood and shifts awareness. That's why we have these names, happy baby, okay, or cat cow, or warrior. So they're all actually states of awareness to understand the body as awareness. You say, how come he jumps straight to yogasana after the first 2? Because it's the most easy thing to look at, physical, even though it's not physical, it's made of awareness. That's the third limb. The fourth limb is what he calls pranayama, which is breathing techniques, hundreds of them, to regulate your autonomic nervous system. Okay, so yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, now he's getting subtle. Then he goes from there to more subtle. It's called pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses, but something called interoceptive awareness. So perception is when you're aware of the outside world. Interoception is when you're aware of what's happening inside your body and you learn to regulate. Now, we all learned interoceptive awareness when we were babies. We call it toilet training. You learn to control your bladder and your bowel. But the yogis say, why did you stop there? You should control your heart rate. You should control your blood pressure. You should control your body temperature. You should control everything that's happening in your body. And so you have access to that. That's the next limb of yoga. It's called pratyahara, interoceptive awareness. Now, we've covered the most physical and subtle. Now he goes to consciousness. Dharana, dhyan, samadhi. So dharana is focused attention and intention. Dharana, that's dharana. Dhyan is meditation. Meditation is the seventh limb. You have to prepare for meditation with all these other techniques. And then the last is transcendence or samadhi, which is enlightenment. So it's a complete, that's why it's called Royal Yoga. It's complete. I wrote the book with my teacher, Sarah Finger. She did the physical, the yoga asanas. I did the rest. To make it simple, we created a 30-day program on each of these principles on all the 8 limbs. So
to guide people through
all the 8 limbs, Royal Yoga.
I feel like nowadays, especially in the Western world, yoga is only seen as asanas.
Yoga is only seen as asana, and Patanjali devotes 5% of the literature on that, but he considers it a very important part.
It's a preparation for the rest.
For the rest, yes.
So how have the teachings of Ayurveda and yoga underpinned everything you have done with Chopra Global so far?
Ayurveda, yoga, and what we call non-duality, which is the basis of wisdom traditions, Vedanta, Kashmir Shaivism, Buddhism, they all work together. Ayurveda focuses on health and well-being. The traditions of non-duality Vedanta focus on enlightenment. And yoga says, yeah, those are great, but there's still systems of thought. And no system of thought can give you access to reality. Neither philosophy, nor religion, nor science, nor theology. You have to have direct experience. So yoga says, good. By Ayurveda, you have the knowledge. Vedanta, you have the philosophy. Yoga, we have the means to experience it. So they all inform each other.
And this has tied into how you have set up Chopra Global.
Yeah, everything I've done in my life based on healing is, ultimately it's all about healing. So that's how we set up Chopra Global.
What breakthroughs in science and technology give you the most hope about the future of healing?
I think the biggest frontiers in science today is the understanding of the microbiome, which is 20 plus extra genes in our body, in addition to 25,000 human genes. You can change these genes through diet, nutrition, probiotics, prebiotics, certain herbal combinations like Triphala, Ayurvedic. So that's a big breakthrough, that you can change 99% of your genetic information in your body. If the body is the printout of genes are the software and the body is the printout, then you can print out a new body if you want by changing, and you can upgrade the human genes too. So that's one breakthrough. The second breakthrough is neuroplasticity, that through conscious choice making, we can change the neural networks of our brain. The third breakthrough, which is the basis of neuroplasticity, is genetics and epigenetics. The fourth breakthrough, I think, would be artificial intelligence and deep learning systems. And when we bring all these things together, then we are bringing ancient wisdom and scientific technology for a more personalized, predictive, preventable future for well-being.
I think so too. It's really powerful if this comes together. But a lot of people say the gut is classified as like the second brain. That because there's so much of the microbiome.
The gut has neurons similar to the brain. So it is a brain. Your skin is also the brain, because skin, gut, and brain are derived from the same germ layer in embryogenesis. When we are going through embryogenesis in the womb as fetus, there's a germ layer called the neuroectoderm, and that differentiates into the brain, into the gut, and to the skin. So your skin, brain, and gut share same neurons. That's why when you massage, you release neuropeptides also, and when you change your diet to influence the genetic information, there's a nerve in our body called the vagus nerve that travels from the brain and innervates every organ for self-regulation, but it has bilateral traffic. So gut to brain and brain to gut and everything in between, the heart, lungs, all the solid organs are this one nerve, the vagus nerve.
Which is also called the healing nerve, right?
It is the healing nerve. Yeah. This is what actually is activated by yoga, by Ayurvedic techniques and methodologies, and also by pranayama, breathing techniques, and even humming and chanting.
So the Healing Company community and audience, as well as the Chopra Global community, are very much focused on their own health and the health of others. Do you have any final words of wisdom when it comes to...
I think the Healing Company is a great name because healing, health, holy, and wholeness are the same word. Healing is the return to the memory of wholeness, who we are, not just a body that manufactures thoughts, not just thoughts that manufacture the body, but mind, body, intellect, physical body, pranic body, energetic body, and the physical world are all modifications of the one self, which we call pure consciousness. So healing is the return of the memory of wholeness. When you're holy, you're healed. Holy doesn't mean some kind of self-righteous morality. It means wholeness, all-inclusiveness. And I think the partnership between Chopra Global and the healing company will help us reach critical mass.
When it comes to health and healing, a lot of people know the how. Like they know, okay, I have to eat healthier, eat more greens, drink more water, less alcohol, no sugar. A lot of people don't know the why. Like, why do they want to get healthier? For example, in the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, for the certified nutritionists that come together, they do the program there, they sit together and they discuss, like, why am I here? Why am I doing this program? And then a lot of times it goes into, because I want to be, for example, a better mother to my children, I want to be more supportive to my family, or really deep whys, actually. It's so interesting, like, how can we, as the healing company, where we're saying, okay, we're sharing knowledge, we're sharing education in the space of how to live a healthier life or how to shift to healing or more closer towards healing. But how can we actually help people find their why? And what is your why actually in living this healthy lifestyle?
You know, one of the big problems in all this area is people seek motivation. And I think motivation is very weak. It's a mental experience, motivation. You motivate your mind. Motivate. It doesn't work. People join the gym and after 2 weeks, they stop going. Okay, and the gym makes out a lot of money because, people think they're going to join forever. They don't. People say, I'm going to quit smoking, and then they start again the next day. Oscar Wilde once said, it's so easy to give up smoking. I do it every day. Okay, so motivation doesn't work. Inspiration works. Inspiration is spiritual. Motivation is mental. Okay, so inspiration is, as I said, to be in spirit. Once you're inspired, there's no going back. Ayurveda works through inspiration, not through motivation. It's a spiritual experience. That's number one. Number two, my why always is very simple. Joyful, energetic body, loving, compassionate heart, creative, clear mind, and most important, lightness of being, lightness of spirit. If you have these four components, then all the other whys are easy. If you have a joyful, energetic body, I wake up every morning and I say on a scale of 10, 1 to 10, how joyful and energetic is my body? Usually the answer on a scale of 1 to 10 is 100. Okay, I have more than I need. Loving, compassionate heart. Sure, same thing. Creative, quiet mind. Same thing. Lightness of being. Same thing. Now you have these four. There's nothing that you can't do. What else is there? You have to have the raw material to accomplish what you want. If you want to be a good mother, well, if you don't have a joyful, energetic body, but a tired, grumpy body, how can you be a good mother? Those are the four important things. Joyful, energetic body is body. Loving, compassionate heart is emotions. Clear mind, creative is here. And lightness of being is spirit. Have those four, nothing left.